Well, here we are, thoughts from the office, the real office. Redneck's Pride Outdoors. And about checking sets and doing a few other things. Something that's not talked about much anymore. Although years ago it was talked about a lot. It was really emphasized a lot. And that was preseason scouting or scouting. Today you don't hear much about preseason scouting or scouting. You know, I mention it a lot to folks, but you don't hear about it. And the reason is, I believe it's with the fur market collapse the way it is, that the competition isn't there, number one, and the real desire to catch the critters that you got the preseason scout on isn't there. You know, raccoons are a dime a dozen. They're easy to catch, and you know, unless you're a couple few crazy wackos like myself and a couple of them other guys that's got YouTubes out there, nobody's really catching the raccoon numbers like we used to. And you can't blame it, you know. I mean, the price is low. The guys rather be deer hunting or duck hunting or having fun rather than having a second job. But you know, where guys used to go out and catch, you know, 300-400 coon. Today, when I'm looking at the average raccoon take from the average strapper, it looks like it's between 30 and 50. So when you're only after 30 or 50, you really don't have to do any preseason scouting, because, you know, as long as you get your sets out, you're going to happen chance on 30 to 50 raccoons in the course of a season. And that's good. Don't take that negatively. That's not. I'm not negative on that. That's good. It's December 10th, I believe it is, and I'm lucky down here in South Jersey. In December 10th, normally that's nothing to me as far as weather-wise. Okay, we don't get those deep snows typically, and if we do get snow, it's usually in January. Definitely after Christmas, but you know, usually January, second week of January, something like that. And my temperatures, even though they may be cold, they're not temperatures that puts the raccoon into a hibernating or semi-hibernating. Raccoons don't hibernate; they just hold on and sleep a lot. But you know, our temperatures being, you know, 20s, mid 20s, high 20s at night, daytime hitting, you know, anywhere from 35 to 45 degrees. It's our raccoons just don't pull up. Ironically, here's something to think of. The years that our raccoons don't hold up, they seem to fare better later. You don't get to rub out as much. I don't know why. There's a lot of speculation. I won't go into what my speculation is, but you know, it's what it is. Our red foxes don't rub out as fast either here in the South Jersey area. But anyway, getting back to what I'm talking about for preseason or season scouting. It's December 10th. My deer season, my 6-day firearm season just ends today, actually. I should be deer hunting, but I'm checking traps and doing wildlife control work. So today's not going to be a deer hunting day unless I get out later on this afternoon. But now is when I'm going to get serious for my raccoons. Like I've said, I need the glands. So typically, you know, I wouldn't be gung-ho on catching a bunch of raccoons. Like you know, typically I won't be doing it. I'm the same as everybody else. You know, $3 raccoon. Let them live, but I need the glands, so I'm gonna start going heavy on raccoons. I'm also doing a video for the raccoons, which this is not part of. So now today I got to do a clinic tomorrow, but Monday we're going into full-scale coon catching, and that's where my scouting comes into play, because I'm not after the 80%, I'm after the 20%, number one, and number two, I'm after the highest density, the highest population of raccoons in any one spot. I don't want to spend the time traipsing all through the woods, going after a single raccoon. I want to go to the spots where I can catch. This is my goal. This is not, you know, anybody else's goal, but this is my goal. I want to catch 5 to 10 raccoons at a spot. 5 to 10 raccoons in 5 to 7 days. At the spot. I don't want to catch 5 to 10 raccoons in 5 to 7 days walking a mile-long creek. It takes time. I don't have time. I've got to get in and I got to get out. I've got to get it done. So I don't want to waste traps, dog-proofs, cages, or snares. I don't want to waste that down a mile worth of stream, even though that may be enjoyable for most of you. I won't tell you what I'm doing. But anyway, it may be enjoyable for most of you. And there's times I like to do it too. I kind of played around with that in the early season to catch well, I call it enough coon that most people don't know what I call it. But anyway, the scouting helps me find that spot where I can go in with 3, 2 sets, 4 sets, depending on the situation, and catch the raccoons in a few days, if you will, and then go to the next spot. And what I try to do is I try to have 20 sections or 20 spots set up, ready to go. So all I have to do is go in, put my sets in, boom, 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 go out. The hard part is finding the circuits. And I know, again, everybody hears me talk about the circuits. I have guys tell me, Josie, you're full of beep. There ain't no circuits. And I tell the people, well, you know what? Why don't you put your money where your mouth is and put a camera out there and prove me wrong. The problem with that is when you get in Ohio, Illinois, you know, Kansas, Corn Belt states, you've got so many stinking raccoons that you can't tell one raccoon from the other. And listen, I can't tell one raccoon from another off of a camera. All right, I can't do that. Neither can you. You can tell me you can, but no, you can't. unless it's got a bobtail or pointy ear or a blonde or jet black. You listen. Don't BS the BSer. All right. Got a mink set there. Not going to show a picture of that one. That's for certain. Ain't surprised. I'm surprised that one hasn't connected yet, to be honest with you. But anyway, getting back to scouting, especially for raccoons. We're using that for raccoons, but scouting goes into everything with muskrats to coyotes, fox, and aardvarks, and hippopotamuses, if you're after them. And so scouting, what's that little bit of time that I use for scouting and setting up things cuts down on my set time, my trap time. So getting back to it, if I have 20 sets, okay, and I can catch 5 raccoons minimum, 10 raccoons maximum. For New Jersey, that's good, by the way. Not, you get out there in the mother states, it's not so good. But for New Jersey, if you can catch 5 to 10 raccoons in one spot, you're doing exceptionally well. The only places that you really see more raccoons at a spot is most of the time those deer feeders. That's been set up since August. Did I say the only time you can catch maybe more than 10 raccoons would be at a South Jersey deer feeder that's been set up since August? Anyway, getting back to talking here. If I can go and I can line up 20 locations to where I can go in and I can set up 2, 3, 4 sets, sometimes 5, it's really good, and check it for 5 days to 7 days. Do your math. Now, for you boys and girls that's working, you're not going to check 20 locations in a day, but it's easier to. Okay, if that's all you're doing is trapping during the day, and you've got 20 locations set up, do your math. 20 locations at 5 is what? 100 raccoons. 20 locations at 10 is what? 200 raccoons. In 20 stops. Now, if you're working, like most people do, you don't have time to hit those 20 locations all at one time. Then, what do? You split it up, 5 locations. It gives you 1 month's worth of trapping. And in South Jersey here, December 10th, I can safely say, for the most part, my coon are not going to hole up until our first snow, which is usually 1 inch, 2 inches, and then they'll hole up for a few days, and then they get back into it again. Unless it comes in January, then they'll move after a day or 2. All right, and then your boars are moving, and the only ones that's holed up is your sows. But even at that, they'll go out and feed. They'll go out and feed every couple of days also. So you see what the only method I'm telling you about, the only method that I'm talking about here is location. Having 20 sets. 20 set locations, and putting in 2 to 3, 2 to 4 sets, whatever it is. Why? Because although we put the emphasis, although we put the importance on the set, and every good trapper will, they're going to tell you, you got to take that DP and you got to set it a certain way. And that cage trap and that foot trap and that snare and that, man, I wish I could use 220s. That would speed up my time for catching coon. Unbelievable. But anyway, we'll get back. I'm off on a rabbit trail. Can't use 220. Can't use 110 above ground here in New Jersey at all. So, what we can use is dog proofs, cage straps, and cable restraints. Can't use a foot trap. But I treat my dog proofs the same as I do my foot traps. That's a story for the video coming in. That hopefully I got coming out. Hopefully. May not be real good with videography. May not be real good with grammar. May not be real good with professionalism. I have a tendency to say and I have a tendency to pause before I say something because I'm thinking. Kind of slow up here, you know. But hopefully I have content. Getting back to scouting. You see, what scouting does is it allows me to find those 20 plus locations that multiple coons are hitting in that 5 to 7 day time frame. Now you keep hearing me talk about circuits, and I mean, just think about it, y'all. How many times have you gone in and seen a place where there's tons of tracks, and you set up and it's 5 days before you start catching a raccoon? Then all of a sudden you catch 2 or 3 raccoons, 4 raccoons, whatever it is, and then it stops again. I wonder what that is. Well, you know what it is. It's a circuit. Now, what changes a circuit? Food, den, weather. That's what changes the circuit. If you got weather, bad weather, then the raccoon's going to change the circuit. Why? They're not moving as much. So the circuit's going to be longer. Your den in the bad weather, they're going to stay put at that den. So where is your location at? Think about that for a second. If you've got high winds, 20 mile an hour winds, or 20 mile an hour winds, it's 25 degrees out. Are your coon going to move? If it's in the breeding season, your boars will, but your females aren't going to. Too much. So where is your location? Food source changes circuit. If you have a supply of solid source of food and it's cold, the raccoons are going to be around that food source. Unless it's breeding season. And then what happens in the breeding season? Them old boars are just like men. Us men. You got a chance to get lucky, we ain't interested in eating. So I line things up, my locations, I line things up in my spots, my 20 spots. If I'm going to have 5 now, I want to line my spots up towards the end of December, beginning of January, I want to find those spots because they're going to be what? Travel routes. And they're going to be at the hubs, and they're going to be at the corners, and they're going to be at the blocks, and you know, the places that forces all the raccoons into that one little spot to get through to go head on down the pike. So pre-season scouting sets you up for your family units. Pre-season scouting sets you up for the early travel routes. Pre-season scouting sets you up for catching those early coon where you're in an area that it's cold by now. Okay, and your raccoons up in Wisconsin, Michigan, Maine, all that, you know, by mid-December, them babies are holing up on you. All right. So your preseason scouting gets you those locations where the highest density of coon are going to be, so you can get in there, bang them out, get on going. The next scouting, like I'm doing right now, is setting it up for what I call cold weather or wintertime coon trapping. And I'm blessed. I'm blessed that my raccoons don't really den up. Maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks, but traditionally they don't den up. You get farther south, they don't den up hardly at all. Well, that's not the truth. I was told that a raccoon down south in Alabama or Mississippi, when it gets down into the 40s, they den up a little bit because they're used to 70, 80 degrees. You know, I was talking to an old boy, well, it was John Jensen actually. I was talking to John Jensen yesterday out in Texas. We was talking about bobcat trapping, and old Yankee, New Jersey boy heading to rebel country, and bobcat trapping down there now. Anyway, getting back to it, he said it was hot as all get out down there yesterday. Okay, so you know, December 9th it was. It's hot. You know, I'm rambling on here, but if you're listening to what I'm saying, I'm giving you a lot of content. I just ain't telling you I'm giving it to you, because we're geared to. Well, Jonesy, just tell me how you set the dog-proof trap. Well, I could, but that don't help you none. So figure it out yourself. Just like I told John yesterday when we was talking about bobcat trapping. I said, you're talking to a lot of good old boys out there that know how to catch bobcats. But the number one thing you're seeing is they're all different, man. Right? And our human tendency is to do what? Well, that's the way I like to do it, so I'm going to listen to him. Well, that's the way I like to do it, so I'm going to listen to her. What I tell people is, listen, you listen to Jonesy, you listen to, you know, there's a little boy out there. I'm watching his videos. I'm gonna give him a kudos. I think it's Coon Creek. I don't even know his name. He's a good old boy. I like what he says. We do things differently. Oh boy, do we do things differently. Okay, but the man catches coon. The man catches coon. I was watching Jeff Dunlap videos. Man catches coon. Does it differently. LT Gray. The man can catch coon. Does things differently. So I've just named 3 people, and then myself, I can catch 1 or 2 a year. Okay? There's 4 different ways to do it. So who's right? We all are. So what am I telling you? Simple. Do this. Listen to what all these boys are doing. All these girls are doing. and incorporate it into your style and figure out your own self. It's a long video. Most of you are never going to even listen to it. A lot of content here. Hidden. You got to listen for it. If you're not bullheaded. This is for the new trappers too, by the way. Notice I'm on a kick with old busting on old trappers. You know why? Because a good old-fashioned trapper that knows what he's doing is headstrong, bullheaded, and you think you know what you're doing, and you won't listen to anybody else. There. Get pissed off at me. Here's what I know. God has showed me that I've got the confidence and given me the confidence to know that I can get her done, I think. But there's a good chance that I ain't going to get her done, which keeps me humble, which makes me listen to everybody else. And when I do that, I say, dang, that was a pretty good point. Wonder how I can use that. Well, shucks, that wasn't something I never thought about. Wonder how I can incorporate that. So yeah, am I busting on you old goats? Yeah, I am. Listen, I've been at this for 55 stinking years, and I don't know it all. And I'm willing to listen to you. You can obviously tell there's been a few old goats who just plain pissed me off this week. And if it wasn't for the grace of God and him telling me, Jonesy, don't be your old nature. Don't be your old nature. But I'm saying, but God, I really want to be. I really want to be the old Jonesy. I really want to be, God. Can you just let me be, please, just once? Man, I ain't had a... Never mind, I can't say that. Well, listen, you new trappers, your scouting never stops. For the little bit of time that you're going to spend scouting, maybe one of these days I'll show you how I scout this late season. Or better yet, I'm going to do it in my video. Oh, yeah, there you go. All right, I'm going to leave it here. Redneck's Pride Outdoors in the office. I'll see you next time.